Hello and good morning. I'm really glad that together we are opening a new page in an SAP community history and I can take an active part in the very first SAP Online track. So welcome to my presentation on custom extensions for SAP Analytics Cloud. But before we move on to the main topic, let me start with a short introduction of myself. My name is Michal Korzen and I'm an SAP consultant based in Warsaw in Poland. For a couple of recent years, my major professional activities were connected with SAP technologies, primarily with SAP HANA, but there was also space for other stuff like SAP Cloud Platform, Analytics Cloud, some data migration tools, well, and pretty many others. But anyway, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have a chance to talk to you today unless the very nice gentleman you can see on the left-hand side, Vitaly, pinged me as many other people around to submit one's session request for the SAP Online track. But what is widely unknown, he's also the guy who encouraged me to step into the SAP world. So all the fun I had during the couple of recent years, I deserve Vitaly. So once again, a big thank you. Vitaly's passion for sharing knowledge and building real community rooted also in the event, so-called Wrocław SAP Inside Track. For known reason, Vitaly had to postpone the event in the present year. But once the situation is over, feel invited and come to Wrocław and take part into the event. As a self-proclaimed Chief Health Officer, I will make sure that we will have enough strong liquids produced in the top secret location like Białowieża Forest. So you don't need to be afraid of anything. So let's meet in Wrocław. So before I switch to SAP Analytics Cloud, let me start with a short live demo recap for you. I will now switch to an ancestor of SAC. I guess many of you can recognize the product. It is the first major release of SAP Lumira Desktop. As all other BI tools on the market, Lumira had pros and cons, but widely unknown is the fact that Lumira has many things in common with SAC. In fact, what you're looking now we're looking on is the web browser. Once I switch the configuration toggle, I can do a right mouse click anywhere in the Lumira desktop. And those of you who have some web development experience can now very well recognize the HTML structure. We can even, well, try to change some settings to see that we can influence how the product is behaving. And one of the greatest advantage of SAP Lumira was the possibility to install custom extensions developed with web technologies. One of the example of my local development is a Sankey chart data visualization extension. This chart type is commonly used to present the process flow. I enhanced the standard visualization with the possibility to change the perspective. We can change the coloring, for example, to node-oriented, input-output, or the default one, so the process-oriented. Another shiny data visualization extension example I would like to show you is a custom choropleth map extension, which not only allows to draw several choropleth on the map, but also it allows to combine several markets into logical regions on the fly. Moreover, it integrates with Lumira APIs, so I can, for example, drill down within the provided hierarchy. The question which you can ask now is whether and how it is possible to do the same with SAC. So let me show you in a minute. Now moving back to our slides. Data visualization chart extensions weren't the only one we could add to SAP Lumira engine. Another were the so-called data access extensions. On the following slide, you can see an example prepared with a Python. It allows to grab some data from PrestaSQL query engine. Once you select to import the new data set, we had to choose an external data source, choose the Presto, the name of the extension, enter some authentication data, and then with a few clicks later, the data was available within Lumira. If you're still using SAP Lumira and you like the presented stuff, you can find it on my GitHub account. The time is running, so it's high time to switch to SAC. I will quickly jump to my demo SAC environment. Let's start the exploration from the built-in components available as of regular stories. I will quickly jump now to a typical canvas-based story I prepared beforehand. On the first page, you can see an example of R-script visualization component. This type of control provides super convenient way to enhance stories with stunning custom charts. The major advantage is the possibility to consume SAC's datasets. Moreover, we can control the data flow with input parameters. So let's look inside. The presented chart run with just a single line of code. The bar plot uses the generated sample dataset. On the top right part of the screen, you can see environment variable derived from the static input parameter. The life would be too beautiful if everything could be done with R-script. For example, we cannot use complex linking between charts. What's more, if you use provided R-script server hosted by SAP, we are limited to provided packages. For security reasons, this R-server runtime cannot access the external network. If you are interested in details, I advise you to either look into SCN or official SAP documentation. On sapanalytics.cloud page, you can find information how you can benefit from using R, how to start, how to use R visualization. There's also some simple tutorial. Um, you can read how to distinguish between a self-configured R server and R server provided by SAP, as well as read what packages are provided by SAP within within given R server provided by SAP. As you can see, the list is quite long, but still, most likely, if you will try to do some custom scripting, you might find some gaps. Moving next, another nice way of how we can enhance dashboards is using of iframes. Basically, we point the component to display any website, especially hosted within the intranet, to, for example, provide end user with planning forms, display charts, or even whole dashboards created within third-party tools. Well, the drawbacks of the solution is missing parameterization. We can't use any variable in URLs. Not surprisingly, we cannot link iframes with any other available components. Well, that's not all for today. Let's have a look at a custom widget released as of Q4 last year. Custom widgets are intended to work as any other chart component. Currently, their usage is limited to Analytic Application Designer. From the web developer perspective, the development process is very simple. Every widget contains of two things, a bit of JavaScript and a metadata file which we can upload into SAC. Let's see how it works in practice. I'll open a prepared analytic application. The customer widget is available to be inserted from the top menu bar palette. Once we place it within a workspace, the engine requests required libraries and calls appropriate methods. The one thing that could be improved is support for SEC's datasets, but if I was to assess what can we do with custom widgets, I'm pretty sure the sky is the limit. If you're not convinced, I encourage you to look into the blog post by Ferry, which you can find on SCN. Within that post, Ferry describe how to start with custom widgets, what are the prerequisites. You can follow even an example to write your own code and try to implement it within your SEC environment. But what is even more fantastic, there's a set of great examples, starting from, well, not very serious business ones like Chill the Lion. You can find some linear process diagrams that's that are really cool and look fantastic. Scrolling down, whilst there's some vehicles which you can open in 3D viewer. Or any other animals, any other objects. I guess it might not be possible with any other tool available on the market. Last but not least, I promise in the session description to present also non-official, non-documented, non-conventional ways of extending SAC. The spotters viewers could have already noticed the question mark sign on the right bottom side of the screen. It is custom Chromium extension. It can be imported to Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge network browser. It works as any other extension like AdBlock you often use, but one is specialized to adopt document body once it recognizes the SEC is open. For sure, you have to be very careful not violate namespace nor any dumb object used by SAC. But what you can see is a conversational UI bot learned to respond with appropriate actions. Let's see in action. Take me to the b oops. So take me to the business content tab. And there we go. I was moved to business content tab, but that was easy. Let's try something more difficult. What is happening today? Hooray! Dev life without Easter eggs would be too predictable and boring. Well, finally, let's talk about ways of obtaining live data from custom data sources. We can do that with custom SDI adapters installed at agent level via SAP HANA database. Not the easiest way to follow, but it's still feasible. Thanks all of you for watching. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me.